After 11 rounds, only a single point separates our two championship protagonists. Today's race will quite literally decide it all. Can Rinna and T handle the pressure of everything narrowing down to this one race? Will it cause one of them to buckle under the pressure or rise to the occasion? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 12 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Monza is among the classic circuits that is a must for any F1 schedule, so it's fitting that it wraps things up here today. Let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Monza. This track has a major place in racing history, not just for the legendary races, names, and cars that have been here, but because it was the third purpose-built car racing circuit in the world. It's often discussed and reverenced among fans, and especially by Italians who have nicknamed it the Temple of Speed. In fact, the Ferrari fans here are so famous for their devotion that they have been dubbed the Tifosi and never fail to show up in droves. While the real world offers only 3 feasible layouts to race on due to safety, in iRacing, the inclusion of the oval and the lack of safety concerns gives it a stunning 9 versions drivers can choose from. The modern GP layout is of course the most well known, with its long history of hosting the Italian Grand Prix. But the oval and combined circuits allow those who thirst for more speed to satiate that craving with its insanely high banking. Indeed, incredible velocities are a staple of just about every version you can race here. Draft battles are not uncommon, no matter which car you're racing. But the inclusion of the chicanes makes using an outbraking maneuver a much more tricky way of overtaking. The circuit is notorious for drivers getting tangled up with each other while running side by side in these slow and cumbersome corners. In fact, one of the greatest dangers for drivers is the first few laps when the field is still clumped together and attempting to navigate them 2 and 3 wide. While there are other modern circuits with high-speed straights, the fact that Monza sits inside the Royal Park just north of Milan and is still tightly lined with trees heightens the sense of speed here. All in all, Monza is unmatched in its history, thrills, and great racing. Its significance in motorsports history and culture is sure to be unchallenged for years. Certainly is picturesque here, so we not only have great racing to look forward to, but wonderful views, although Ryan, I don't think we'll be stuck looking at the surroundings so much as the cars on track.
Yeah, these drivers are going to be too busy focusing on hitting their marks to focus on the scenery. But this 6.2 mile track first opened in September 1922, and it's hosted a range of series from touring cars to open wheels to GT racing. You name it, it's been at this track. And the nature of the track, as most people will know, is slipstream, and I think we'll see a lot of slipstream battles, especially down that home straight. Most places, or the places you'll be able to try and make a move, are down into the Della Roggia, and also down the Curva del Seraglio straight heading down to Variante Ascari, and also possibly the Curva Barabolica. So plenty of places to try and make a move. And I think we should be in for a fantastic race today in the Lotus 79 series.
I'm certainly looking forward to it. And, well, let's take a glance at the championship. And as I mentioned, only a single point between our top 2. Now, Seppa is a dark horse. It is possible for him to try and take the championship, but it's much more of a long shot, and he requires both Rinna and T to run into trouble. From there on down, everyone that you see on this list are mathematically eliminated. Vanio Congas, Simone, and Friscia cannot win the championship. There will be some variations on how they can win our top 2, so we'll go over that in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the Classic Teams Championship, too, because that's still on here, Ryan.
It absolutely is, and in the championship at the moment, it's currently being led by the Scuderia Ferrari team of Seppa, Vanya Kangas and Rotkrins, but not too far back, 58 points. It might look a bit of a big gap, but in reality, that's more than possible to close down. The Equipe Renault Elf team with Vascolampi, Tees and Pasilius in second, and then rounding out the top 3, we've got the Rango Arrows Beta Racing team with Fritza, De Turk and Herner. And then fourth place, we've got the Tyrrell Racing team with Knitsky, West, and Williams, and rounded at the top five, we've got Essex and the Essex John Player team Lotus. So as it stands, the rest of the championship is pretty much out of reach.
Now, in case this is your first time tuning in to the Sunday Grand Prix series, here's our race details. As we've said multiple times, it is the finale today. But of course, they will have 30 laps to try and contest to figure out who is the overall champion. It's an open setup series, which means anything you could do to the real Lotus 79, these drivers can do to try and find speed. Most of that, as you imagine, will be trimming out the wings and downforce today. They have penalties that are handed out at 17 incidents and 25. 25 actually gets you a disqualification even. So you want to keep it on track and not take to the runoff too much around here, even though it is paved and modernized, unlike this old Lotus 79, which is just as beastly as it once was. Right now, we're waiting for our first qualifying times to come in. And as we do that, we currently have Oscar de Rina up on the pole. Looks like Fluke, who has come in, parachuted in out of the Camel GT series to attempt joining in the fun here. And he's going to take those 2 bonus points away from Oscar de Rina. That's going to be a big talking point, I suspect, here, Ryan, is those bonus points for the pole and for the fastest lap.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before the broadcast about the bonus points, and I think they're going to play a major factor in this championship battle. So I think Ascari Rina, don't be surprised if you try and see him basically just go for it from the get-go and try and get as many fastest laps as possible. Try and pick up any advantage you can get in the championship battle. But in qualifying at the moment, Andy T is still not set a time, so he's running out of time to try and get up there close to the front and try and keep Ascari Rina in sight.
He just put his first time in. Unfortunately, it did not count. He must have had an off track, so he's under the gun here. If he doesn't get a clean one or a fast one on this second lap, he's going to be starting way down the field. 20 cars will be taking part today. And even though that is a little bit smaller than they've had in some races, that's still a lot of people to try and overtake. And with Rina on the front row currently, the pressure is on for the number 5 to try and get himself into a good spot at the start of this race. But let's not forget that Shimon is in there. He's another one that's taken victories this season, even though he's mathematically eliminated. Vanio Congas currently sitting in 4th, and Freisha with a fairly decent qualifying for him this season, at least, sitting in 5th right now.
Absolutely, and they just looking at the time at the moment, it's still Jamie Fluke on pole position, but as we look at it looks like Andy T. It looks like at the moment just coming through. And this is basically his last chance to try and set a time, because if he can't, then he'll be starting towards the back of the field, and around Monza, especially with the slipstream, it's not the best scenario that you want before the start of the race.
Yeah, if the top group unfortunately starts to break away, it'll make it all the harder for him to try and catch up to them. Only 5 drivers have not qualified. T, one of them. As he crosses the line, he finally puts one on the board, and that is going to put him into 4th. Not the best he could hope for, but good enough.
Yep, a good lap time from T, and Ole Trengridge is coming round the final corner as well, and currently sitting 7th on the grid. And yeah, it looks like this lap it doesn't look to be a good one. So Ole Trengridge, it looks like he'll be starting 7th on the grid.
See if anybody else who has yet to set a time is still out there. Marco Kela is currently still seeking his first time. This is Erwin Rotkrins, who is coming up to the Ascari chicane. He's in 15th. We should mention this is the top split that we're watching. For those not familiar with iRacing, essentially they separate the cars after a certain number sign up for the race, just so that they don't have too many in a single race. And since they hit that number here, they've split them up according to iRating. So this is the best of the best that you're watching. And Rotkrins, hailing from the Benelux Club, comes down to the line and abandons his second lap. Actually, no, excuse me. This is his 3rd lap, as he's already put his 2 in. So it looks like he is done for the day. Marco finally puts one on the board, and actually it's quite good, and it demotes T down to the 3rd row. Marco into 4th.
Yeah, that was a great lap by Marco, and he managed to get in front of T. And yep, I think Andy T is maybe just kicking himself that he never managed to nail his first qualifying lap, and unfortunately he's been punished for that. And Owen Traingray's coming around to complete his final lap by the looks of it, and it looks to be a pretty decent lap at the moment.
Unfortunately, I think he has already taken his 2, and yeah, he's not going to get this 3rd one in anyways. So our grid is set. Jamie Fluke is on the pole, and Oscar de Rena is starting in 2nd. Tomas Simon will be P3 with Marco Kela in 4th position. Andy T down in 5th, fighting for this championship, ways away from Rina. Etuvani Okonga starts P6 with Gernot Friesche in 7th. Ove Trangrade good enough for 8th, and Seppa for 9th. There's your long shot there, starting well down, and Paul Williams rounds out your top 10.
Starting in 11th is Jai Reninen. 12th is going to Peter Kaniski with Timothy Reed in 13th. Tony J. Garcia in 14th, with Alexia Tapia Vico in 15th. The Benelux driver Aaron Rotkrins in 16th, with 17th going to Michael Duterk. And the rest of the grid that didn't set a time was Steve Bycroft 18th, Carl Vierner in 19th, and round out the grid is Dennis Shannon.
Waiting for the rest of the field to line up. A lot of our front runners taking their time to put themselves onto the grid, interestingly. Looking for Fluke, Rina, Shimon, Friesche, and so far nothing from among them. There we go. Now they're starting to put themselves down. We've already seen Jamie Fluke win 1 this weekend with the Camel GT Series, taking victory at Silverstone from the pole there. So not good for either of our competitors. Don't have to worry about the pole bonus, which means it is still up to T to try and overtake Rina in terms of points, as he is 1 behind right now. But if they are within the top 10, whoever finishes ahead will be able to take the victory. They're all out on the grid, so the engines start to rev as the lights come up here in the final round of the Sunday Grand Prix Series. Green flag is out. Fluke is great off the line. Even better is Tomas Simon. He's looking for the lead. It's a horrible start for Rina, though. He starts to fall back. This is not good, as T, I think, is already beyond him. But they're going to go past the first chicane, the traditional first chicane of Bretta Filio. And this time, it is going to be Della Rosa that is their first braking event. Through the Curva Grande and up towards that first chicane. Fluke having to fend off Tomas Simon, and he's able to hold him back. Vani Okonga slips up to 3rd. Andy T into 4th. He's ahead of Rina, who falls all the way back into 6th.
Yeah, this is the sort of start that Andy T needed. He needed to try and get up there and try and gain maybe a position or 2, and he's managed to gain 1 anyway. And he has to keep Oscario Rina in sight. And at the moment, someone's off in the gravel in the background, but still at the moment, Jamie Fluke is currently leading on lap 1.
Here's to be Paul Williams, who unfortunately went into the gravel, didn't hit anything, so he keeps going, but he falls to last on the grid. Down into the Ascari chicane. Fluke already pulling out as Shimon, feeling some pressure from Vani Okonga. A little bit of a slide there for Shimon. The number 3 suddenly finds himself just barely ahead of Vani Okonga, coming up to Parabolica. No attempt from Etu. The Finn is going to hold back, maybe looking for a better slipstream down the long front stretch. Unfortunately for one of our championship protagonists, Andy T, even closer followed by Marco Kela.
Yeah, as they come down the home straight now, and this is where the slipstream battles will start to happen, and rider on board down the home straight. And yeah, Andy T, it's not what he needs, but it's just the nature of Monza, with the long straights and slipstream. And again, Jamie Fluke's taking advantage and just pulled away at the moment and left everyone else behind to scrap amongst themselves.
And the draft has pulled in Rina. He has managed to close up on the battle between Marco and T, though he's not able to overtake. Ooh, T with a fantastic exit, a poor exit for Kayla, and Rina spies an opportunity. He sends it to the inside through the first Lesmo, but he doesn't complete it. They stay wheel to wheel, and they actually bang wheels. He's got to be careful. He does not damage the car. It needs to be as fast as possible here today.
Absolutely, and Rina, I think he he was wanting to get his elbows out, but with that, there's a risk of if you do that, you can possibly end up with damage like you were talking about. And Runner is under attack from Severi Seppa.
Here's where it gets interesting, is they do have drop points, and right now, Rinne has none. So T is the one that has an advantage if he finds himself in trouble. And Rinne, who's fallen back from all this battling, he's still in 5th. He's still 1 position behind T, but he's now got to make up 1.1 seconds. Wonder if he's able to work together with Marco to try and claw that back. But our leader, Jamie Fluke, already a 1.5 seconds ahead of Shimon, who's got himself at least a partial gap over Vanio Congas. Not sure if that's enough to get him out of the slipstream. There you see Fluke in the black, white, and blue. And I can tell you that T is on the back of Vanio Congas as well, trying to get himself onto the podium.
Yeah, he's got the run heading down to the chicane where he try and make a move, and he's close enough, but I don't think he decides not to go for a move. And at this early stage of the race, it would be silly to try something silly.
Mistake from Vanio Congas puts him under threat. T can't do anything with it, though. Pretty good conditions here today, as you can see the sun ducking in and out of the clouds. It's only 80 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface currently. As Andy T doesn't get the best of runs out of the second Lesmo. Not sure he's going to be able to get anything from on A2 up into Ascari. Again, he doesn't need to worry about the victory, though. He just needs to worry about staying ahead of Rinne and keeping Rinne from taking the fastest lap of the race. That's where it gets complicated, I think, is Rinne taking those 2 extra bonus points as T got a run, but decides not to do anything with it here.
Yeah, I think he's waiting until the home straight. I think that's his best opportunity to make a move, as Vanio Congas runs slightly wide on the exit of the final corner, and this will give T the opportunity to try and get a run.
Indeed, he's got a slipstream. Does he actually try and get by here? He pulls up to that gearbox, pokes his nose out. He's going to have the momentum, but they're going to be side by side, I think, by the time they get to Curva Grande. He starts to stall out, and indeed, A2 is going to fight back. This double punch in the air brings in Oscar Rinne. He's going to try and follow through. He needs to hold on to the back of Andy T and try and overtake him. Almost goes to the inside, locks up the brake. T can't make the pass, but Oscari nearly wrecks the car, and we're only on lap 4.
That was so close to being ended up in disaster, and I think Andy T might have just got a little bit spooked there. And what do you do if you're Andy T? Do you let Runner go, or do you do everything you can to try and keep him behind?
I think Andy T's got to do everything he can to keep him behind right now while also trying to attack. We just, I think, had a bit of an accident. Michael the Turk and Alexis Tapiavico find themselves out of the races, all of them sliding into Ascari here in this group of 5. Rinne wants to get by. I just checked the points as they sit. It's a 3-point difference from 4th to 5th, and Rinne knows it, defending to the inside, but not far enough, and allowing Ascari to get by him. Suddenly, Oscari is going to swing it in his favor. If he can just hold on to it, T fights back around the outside of the Parabolica, and now it's going to be a drag race down the main straight.
Yep, the T's just managing to stay in touch, but I think if Runner gets in front, he's going to be vulnerable in a straight line. If T can get the slipstream, and yep, that's T's got the advantage, but I don't think he's going to try anything silly and actually tucks out from behind just to show Runner that he's there.
Rinne's got a huge head of steam. He actually might be trying to get past Vanio Congas. Oh, and defends late. Weaves back across the track, and once again, this is looking a bit intense now. T finds himself denied twice. I don't think he's going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, I was a bit naughty from Runner there. He moved. I wouldn't say he moved the second time, but he was just moving under braking ever so slightly. And yeah, I have to agree. T is going to be slightly frustrated with that.
So between this 4th and 5th position, it'll be whoever is ahead, no matter bonus points. Regardless, I'm sure that Rinne wants to make a little bit more safety than that and try and overtake A2, who's just running his own race. He seems to take no interest in this championship fight. He just wants a podium today. They come out of Ascari. T does not look good. he starts to back it up, and Marco Kela in the number 6 is sizing him up as the same time that Rinne is sizing up Eetu Vainio-Kangas. He gets to the inside, down into Parabolica. Last time this caused a side-by-side fight between himself and T, and he came out on top. Can he get it done here? Up against the number 10. He's got the inside, and it looks like he's got the straight line speed. Look at him start to pull ahead.
Yeah, and it looks like Rinne's got the move done, and don't be surprised if any of these drivers are running zero wing just because of the long straight, the long home straight. Sorry. So yep, maybe some drivers are going for a really low wing just to try and keep ahead in a straight line.
A2 looking around the outside, braking deep. Oh, but he starts to lose the rear end. He has to catch it. Andy T tries to take advantage, and once again, he's still stuck. He's watching his rival distance himself and put even more of a buffer between himself and T, as now he's got A2 between them. It is very, very solidly in favor of Oscar Rinne.
And I think if you're Andy T at the moment, I think you'll be really frustrated. He just seems to be unsettled as well, Andy. I don't know if that moment with Oscar might have just unsettled his run and focus, but at the moment he's just not being able to do anything. It's just like you said, Joey, Oscar's just getting away, and he's just basically running away up the road.
And remember, Oscar out-qualified Andy. He had him by a couple positions. I don't know the exact gap on seconds, so this might just be raw pace. Look at him start to take off ahead of Vainio-Kangas as well, which is the absolute worst thing that T could see. He needs to keep touch. He needs to keep in that slipstream. The question is, can he do it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if Andy's maybe running a slightly more downforce possibly, but at the moment he's just can't really do anything about E2 at the moment, and behind him he's got Marco Kela behind him as well. So as Andy T goes for the move up the inside.
He had a good run on A2. Are we going to see 3 wide? Marco thinks about it, then backs out of it. T very strong on the brakes, though, heading down into Della Rosa. He's through. Now can he go chase down Oscar Rinne? He still doesn't have the championship. As it stands, Oscar would be your champion this season. By the way, fastest lap currently has gone to Jamie Fluke. Neither of them do have the bonus point, but it would not help them in this fight, no matter which of them has it. As we fly down towards Ascari. Andy T can see his rival up ahead, both of them sliding into that final chicane.
Now that Andy T's passed Vainio-Kangas, it'll be interesting to see if T can extract more pace and try and reel in Oscar Rinne, because at the moment he can't really afford to let him get away from him. He's got to basically back up at the front, looking at the leaders as well. Actually Jamie Fluke is starting to feel a little bit of the pressure from Thomas Simon, who's 7 tenths behind him.
That's a good point. Yeah, the 3 has definitely got a little bit of that draft himself, probably reeling him in. Yeah, it's come down to 6 tenths of a second, 5 tenths of a second. So Shimon could get himself up to the gearbox of Jamie Fluke, the world championship level driver, is going to have to fight for this one. Last race in the camel race, he just scampered away and nobody was able to fluster him at all race long. Don't think he'll have that nicety today.
Absolutely not. And pretty much around Monza, because most of the track is a straight, you can use that slipstream to stay behind someone and stay in range of them. So at the moment, Simon's about half a second behind Fluke, and I think that gap will become even smaller as they get back onto the home straight.
Even down into Ascari, he gets it down to 4 tenths. Simon eager to get another win, and I want to say this will be his 5th if he can manage it. Yeah, he's got 4 wins on the board from what I'm seeing. Simon, the winningest of anybody this season. It's just his lack of attendance that's kept him out of the championship hunt, unfortunately. He goes a little bit wide. Is this too wide, though? He keeps it at 4 tenths, up to 5 tenths. He lost a little bit through the Parabolica. Doesn't seem to hurt him too much here, Ryan, as he's going to start reeling him in.
Yep, absolutely. As they come back down the home straight now, and that gap's getting smaller and smaller. It's down to about 4/10 of a second. It might even get down to about 3/10 of a second as they. And yep, there you go, 3/10 of a second.
Battle is on for the win now. They break for De La Roja, but he can't attack. Behind them, it's worth mentioning that Andy T has not been able to catch Ascari. In fact, it's about 2 seconds between them. And Marco Kayla is awful close. In fact, I think they're bringing along Veneo Congas and Seppa, the pair of Ferraris, potentially could upset things here. The last thing that T wants is Marco managing to get by and slowing the pair of them up. Although I suppose, Ryan, he could some leapfrog to maybe get a little bit more pace, but he might be hoping for a lot having one of his rivals work together with him here.
Yeah, possibly, but I think I'm not saying if there's anything going on, but I think the Finnish drivers behind him, Vanio Kangas and Seppa, might be kind of trying to unsettle AT, maybe trying to, in a way, help Runner try and run away up the road.
Let's head back to our leaders because Shimon is exiting the Parabolica with only 3/10 between them now. Does he have enough to actually attack? They start to pick up speed, 175 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour, and continuing to climb. Oh, he's coming close. Fluke doesn't defend. He knows the first braking is going to be on the left-hand side. As Shimon approaches, just runs out of steam. He's not quite there. So, good intel, Ryan. 3/10 back, not enough.
Yeah, I think 3/10 is kind of close, but I think you want to be within about 1 or 2/10 to try and possibly slip out or tuck out and try and make a move. But at the moment, Jamie Fluke is doing a good defensive job. He's just hitting his marks and he's not overdriving or pushing too much. He's just keeping his composure at the moment.
Bad news for fans of Andy T. Marco Kayla is able to get by. So Rita and T are now separated by a car. There you can see T behind the blue and white machine of Marco in the number 6. Rinna currently 2.5 seconds ahead. That's even farther away now from that pack. Rinna might not be looking at a potential win here, considering he's 4.5 seconds back from the battle for P1, but he doesn't need it. Again, all he needs to do is finish where he is in comparison to T.
Absolutely, and Rinna's doing what he needs to do at the moment, and just basically hitting his marks and just has to finish the race, like you say, and just he's got the championship in the bag. But I don't think he will be thinking about that at the moment. He just wants to finish this race and get out of the way. And the team must be feeling really frustrated at the moment, thinking that he had a chance, and it's just slowly slipping away.
It's got to be maddening. And keep in mind, remember, we saw Ascari come in last season, take a couple victories, but not really hunt for the championship because of the fact that he came in a little bit late. But we kind of pegged him as one to watch, and what do you know? Here he is on the verge of taking it all, really showing everybody how it's done. As they work their way through the Lesmo, we're going to jump up to our leaders. Fluke 4/10 ahead of Simone. Last time by, he wasn't nearly as close on the exit of Parabolica, hence why we didn't cover that fight up towards the front. Let's see if he can do anything this time, Ryan, if he can just exit that final corner a little bit better.
Yeah, I think if he can get a good exit on the exit of Parabolica, I think he should be able to try and get a run down the home straight, as again, Simone is down to about 3/10 of a second behind Fluke, and I think that gap will get even smaller down the home straight if he can get a great exit and possibly a good slipstream to try and make a move, as both of them get a great exit, and Simone, I just lost a 10th or so on the exit.
Yeah, that might be a bridge too far, unfortunately. Let's watch and see what it does, though, as he starts to close in. They come up to the Curva Grande. It's going to swing fast to the right at about 187 miles an hour. Bleeding off speed as the car hits the friction of the turn, down to 180. And he gets to within 2 car lengths. But still, he's stuck behind. Shimon watching almost helplessly as Fluke tows him along. What a fascinating battle it's been between our leaders as well as between our front group. But we've got battles throughout the rest of the pack. Villeneuve, Konecki, and Bycroft have a real back and forth going. In fact, I think Villeneuve just took 10th place away from Peter.
I think so. Yeah, it looks like it. And yeah, Villeneuve and Konecki and Bycroft have been really close together for a few laps. And Villeneuve, like you said, just managed to get the move done on Konecki, and Konecki's under pressure from Bycroft. And Steve Bycroft, they had a decent race at Silverstone and got a great result by finishing the top 10 as Villeneuve slides a little bit wide.
Oh, and he's going to slide off. Can he keep it off the barriers? No, he clatters into the tires. Unfortunately, that Tyrrell going to take a little bit of damage. It appears the car can get going. But that ends that battle as we now look at 12th. Erwin Rotkranz with Dennis Shaning with Timothy Reed in there, and Tony Garcia. 4 cars fighting for P12. Reed going to be able to get side by side with, or excuse me, Garcia able to get side by side with Reed, actually. Oh, but he backs out. That or Garcia just does not have the straight line speed. Meanwhile, Shaning able to attack on Rotkranz. Wheel to wheel down into Curva Grande. Inside going to Shaning. But now Rotkranz is going to find it swinging back in his favor. The inside down into De La Roja, still fighting him hard, and unfortunately that first apex just does not play nice with Dennis behind them. Reed with a poor exit, and Garcia gives it another shot, going the long way around of the first Lesmo. He can't get that done either. They stay in their position.
A fantastic racing between this pack as well. As the battle for P8 between Gernot Fritza and Ove Trengrade is going on at the moment, as it looks like Gernot just got by.
Yeah, but a little bit wide there into Ascari. And I think Uwe's got another shot to get this one back, but he's waiting. Maybe this is a patient, clever call from the Norwegian, looking for the longer slipstream, the better chance down the pit straight as they start to pick up speed coming off the Parabolica. Indeed, he's going to have a nice little tow. So what is his straight line speed in like in comparison to Gernot Frischa? He's not gaining terribly quickly. It's not as quick as I thought he would.
Yeah, I thought he would have closed up right away. As always closing up closing right up in the back of him now, and both of them getting really wide there for a second.
Indeed, has to back out of it slightly. Up at the front, Shimon actually got within a tenth of Jamie Fluke, but wasn't able to try and attack him. It's gone back to about 4 tenths now on the back half of the course. Shimon, though, maybe he's figured out something. Maybe he's got himself a better exit off of the final corner now and has finally got himself into position. Oh, and we seem to have missed an incident with Timothy Reed in that battle we were watching before for 12th place. I think Reed had a little contact with Garcia and got spun around. Here's a replay, Ryan. This is heading into De La Roja. You can see he's got a battle in front of him. That's Garcia in the black car, the very back.
Yeah,
closes into the braking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is it one of the cars get and he gets spun out? I think it just looks like he might have just lost it in front of another car, and unfortunately he just got tagged around.
Yeah, so Reed unfortunately sent to 16th because of that incident. You can see he doesn't hit anything else, so he's able to get the car moving and in the right direction. We jump back to our leaders. Simone keeps getting right up there. I can't seem to execute, and I'm sure he'd like to try and make the pass. Now, I say all this, Ryan, and I'm starting to wonder, could Simone be playing possum? Could he be waiting for the final lap?
I was thinking that as well. I wonder if he's kind of decided not to try and make a move now. Maybe he's more than happy just to sit there and maybe just plan out when he's going to make the move and where he's going to make the move, and maybe just kind of just play a bit of a sneaky game, if you like, and just see if Jamie Flick can crack under the pressure.
So we ride on the helmet cam of Shimon. Comes up into Parabolica. Let's ride on board. Let's see if he lifts through Curva Grande, or if this is all flat out and he genuinely can't manage to get into an attacking position. They're going to continue to hold their feet to the floor, going all the way down the main straight, past the pits, past the first chicane. Rettifilio, none of their concern this time. Ooh, he's close. He's close. Now he looks for it. He's going to actually get side by side, but holding the left side, Fluke actually gets back ahead of him. That had to have been Shimon backing out of it.
Yeah, more than likely. I think someone just decided not to do anything silly and just back out of it and tuck him back behind, and Jamie Flick managed to. It looks like Kayla is still in fourth place, but still under pressure from Andy T and Ito Vaniakangas as well.
As the laps tick away, poor Andy T is watching this championship go by the wayside, sadly. We're already halfway through the race, past halfway at this point. And T can't seem to not only pass Marco, but he's got 3.5 seconds between Marco and Rinna. Rinna is extending the gap bit by bit. Wonder if mentally Andy T is checked out of this fight, as he's still desperately thinking that he's got a shot here, hoping that he can maybe take this championship, or as he consigned himself and think about the feelings of Oscar Rinna, knowing he's put himself exactly where he needs to be as our leaders once again go side by side. Simone has got it this time, though. Fluke slots in behind. Tomasz up in front for the first time this race.
Yep, I think Simone has basically decided that now's the time to go for it and try and take the lead, and he's managed to do that. And I think Jamie Flick, I think he might do the same. Just wait behind and plan what he's going to do now. This it kind of gives him a chance to see where Thomas Simone is possibly weak, and where he can be kind of like caught off guard, if you like.
You know, curious and checking to see what the lap times are between this pair and Rinna. Actually, could we pull up a lap comparison between Fluke and Rinna here and see if he's catching them? Because he is 5 seconds behind, but you never know. Nope. Well, there's our definitive answer. Rinna is slower. That last lap, I think, with the side-by-side action did catch him back up a little bit, but Oscar at that rate is not going to be able to do it. Let's watch what Jamie's perspective is. When you're up against a championship level driver, you really got to bring everything. He's got a toe. Does he want to attack? He does. He's going to go to the inside. Now the question is, can he complete it? And I think that was helped along, as Shimon looked like he may have given a slight lift. Got a bit of a side-by-side between Trangarade and Freesia. Freesia just took 8th away from Uwe. That was an easy draft pass down the front stretch between the pair of them. Freesia getting himself up into P8 now.
As he gets a little bit sideways in the middle of the chicane, but manages to hold it. And these guys have been close together for a while. And yep, it's been a great battle between these two. And Fritz managed to take the position again. But I think Bobby Trangrade, if he gets a chance on the home straight, he'll retake that position.
Obviously, this isn't the Gernot we've seen in seasons past, taking multiple championships down here in 8th place. But I would like to point out that Gernot did win one this season. He took a victory at Zandvoort earlier on. So he was able to claim one scalp. The unfortunate news is he's well out of the championship hunt, so we'll have to focus on next season to get a championship, let alone a win today, as he's well out of the hunt for that as well. The battle that we've watched, we don't need to go to it, has separated between Kayla T and Vanio Congas. They're all somewhat split apart now, so even worse news for Andy T as he finds opportunities slipping through his fingers. Meanwhile, our front two has Fluke back in the front of Tomasz Simon. It got down to about a 10th, and then Simon backed out of it. But the good news for Tomasz is, Ryan, he knows how to get by now.
He does indeed, and I think pretty much from I think we're just about 10 laps remaining in this race. I think it's pretty much between these drivers it's gloves off, so don't be surprised if you see these guys switching around every lap on the home straight for the win.
I have a sneaking suspicion it really will come down to that. The exit of the penultimate lap onto the final lap down that main straight. It's going to be whoever's in second making their move. Right now, that is Tomasz Simon, although he's fallen back a little bit. He's about 5/10 back. We've already seen that is a little too far back.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, you can close that gap back down if you get a great exit on the exit of the final corner, which Simon seems to have, I think. But again, he's not closing down on Fluke as much as I thought he would. And as he come across the line now, I think Simon might close up, but I don't think he's close enough at the moment. And I think Simon even might just be backing off slightly, just looking after his tyres and maybe just saving his armour for the closing stages.
Well, interestingly, he just set the fastest lap of the race there. So he takes that bonus point away. And he did get down to about a 10th on their way up to Della Roja. So again, he can't do that too much, I'm sure, but he knows that it'll allow him to get right up to that gearbox once again. We're down to 8 to go as they fly through the Lesmos. 5.5 seconds ahead of Ascari Rin. They are free to fight without worrying about giving too much away to the number 7, hoping to chase them down potentially. Big correction there as we rode on board with Tomasz coming through the Ascari chicane. Always find it interesting seeing who handles the car how in these vehicles, since they're pre-computer eras. This is all just driver input. There's no help that the drivers are getting, no computers in that machine. It's all analog. We're going to watch from above. This is a great angle to see how much he gains down the straight.
Someone's getting closer and closer, and I think he might try and make a move down into the chicane, but I don't know. He's getting closer in the slipstream as he thought about tucking out from the slipstream, but decides to stay behind.
Yeah, it looked to me like there was just a tiny lift even before Curva Grande from Simon. He's just toying with him at this point. Down to 7 to go now. As this battle has been going on, the only other closest battle that we've got is for that 8th place that we were looking at shortly ago between Friscia and Trangrade. Friscia holds that 8th position over Ove for the time being. Out of the final chicane, onto the run to Parabolica. Can you see them using all of the track off of that exit? Boy, Simon is perhaps the closest we've seen him coming into Parabolica for a while here, Ryan.
Yeah, he closed right up on the braking, and he's got a great exit as well. And yeah, I think if he gets real close to Jamie Fluke this time around, I think he's definitely going to go for the move now. And at this stage of the race, I think it's pretty much the gloves are off.
got the run, and he's going to decide to take it this time. If this gives him the lead, could it give the advantage now to Fluke in second, using the slipstream when he wants? Fluke's looking to the left side. He doesn't want to sit in second, potentially. No, he breaks early and allows Shimon up to the front with 6 to go. Are we going to see gamesmanship now? Ooh, Andy T's having to fend off not just Marco, he's already been overtaken by, but Etu is liking his chances to get into the top 5. They were side by side. T's held on to 5th. Oh man, it's all unraveling, unfortunately, for the Brit.
Unfortunately it is, and I think Andy T must be up to ruining his luck, and it's just one of those things. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't, and unfortunately Andy T he gave it his best shot, but unfortunately it looks like he's going to lose out.
To be fair, this is on pace though. We've seen that Oscar can outrun him, and he just does not have the legs today to try and challenge him. And in a case of may the best man win, Oscar appears to be the best man today. 5 to go now as T continues to be hounded by the number 10. Let's see if A2 gets another crack at it and if he can try and overtake. Oh, as that's happening, let's go back to our leaders, because Fluke is going to be side by side, and it's a game of chicken under braking into De La Roja. That's going to go in favor of Shimon. Ooh, now it's getting fascinating. Did not expect him to attack back. I thought that Fluke would just kind of sit there, make him sweat. Oh, whoa. What a slide from Tomasz.
Yeah, he's starting to feel the pressure now, and I think Simon he's maybe looking behind more often than he wants to, and not focusing on what's in front of him. And unfortunately, he's getting a little bit sketchy again. And yet, Jamie Fluke is absolutely just will not leave him alone.
T's lost the position. Vinny Okonga's got a good run coming out of the Lesmos and made it stick. Actually, no, T lifted and let him by, weirdly. I'm not sure why Andy did that. Maybe he feels like A2 is slightly faster and just wants to ride the coattails. That is an unusual move. But I think we got to go back to our leaders, because Fluke running down Shimon one more time. Last time he pulled up side by side. This time he does not.
Oh, someone got sideways. That was so close to being ended up in disaster.
Four laps to go now. Fluke sitting down behind Shimon. Fluke took the pole. As T's going to get the spot back from A2. Interesting. This was into De La Roja. Side by side. T's on the outside and still manages to get it done. That is not an easy thing to do. That Renault is determined.
Yep, it's not the easiest place to go on the outside into that skid. It's more kind of, if you're on the outside, you're playing a risky game, and it requires the driver on the inside to cooperate a little bit. And thankfully, Andy T had that as they will look back up at the front. And this battle for the lead is still shaping up. And again, Thomas Simon gets sideways on the exit of the final corner, and he's definitely feeling the pressure.
Fluke should have an easy pass this time if he wants to take it. He's going to be fully alongside him now. He'll have the inside into Curva Grande. That's not necessarily where he wants to be. He'll get a little bit of an edge ahead with a shorter run through that corner. Here comes Shimon back at him. He's got the nose ahead, and it is going to be a side-by-side battle into the braking zone, cutting way to the inside. Did Shimon get a cut course penalty from that? I think he did. He starts to fall backwards. Ooh, I think he may be able to hold on to it, though. But he's still giving time away. Is he going to be able to stay in the slipstream? That's the critical part here.
Yeah, I think that slowdown, it looks like it might have not cost Simone too much, but yeah, I think he might just be able to stay in the slipstream of Fluke, and Fluke's not got away as much as I expected with that.
It's getting feisty now. They're going to be 2 to go at the line. Simone's got ground to make up. I can tell you that Vanio Congas is back in front of T as well in 5th. And as the championship stands, it will easily go to Oscar Rina. All right, out onto the main straight. Simone about 0.6 of a second behind. Penultimate lap here. It's coming down. It's 0.5, 0.4. He's going to get it all back. Boy, he can't afford to do that again, though.
Absolutely not, and I think he's actually managed to close that gap back down to Jamie Fluke to about 0.2 of a second. So, yep, I think we're going to be in for a spicy last lap.
I'm looking forward to this. Unfortunately, something happened to Andy Teed. He's now 1.5 seconds behind A2. Continuing to drop back. That is just incredibly disappointed for himself and his fans. But good news for Oscar Rina, who continues to plug away in 3rd place, set to win the Season 4 Championship of 2020. Here we go. As we come up to the white flag for Jamie Fluke and Tomas Simone. What can Simone do? He's 0.5 of a second back. He's got to be a little bit closer, I think. They come around that final 180-degree turn to the line as the white flag waves for the pair of them. It's 0.4 now. That's right about where Simone needs to be. Is it going to be enough, though? It's down to 0.3. Just a few more car lengths, and he'll manage to get side by side. 0.2 between them. 0.1 between them. As he closes in, he's not able to get side by side by Curva Grande. Defending the inside, Jamie Fluke gonna make him work hard for it. Who's better on the brakes? They come down wheel to wheel into Della Rosa. Both of them are gonna lose it, but cutting the course, Tomas Simone. Unfortunately, too deep into the corner, and Fluke looks like he is gonna easily cruise to the win from here.
I was so unfortunate for Thomas Simone. He tried to stay on the outside as much as possible, but I think he just got lost grip or got in the marbles, and unfortunately, as it looks like Gernot is still under pressure from Ove Trengrade.
Still fighting for that 8th place, but Frisha fends him off for the time being. Ove could get another bite at things down to Ascari or even Parabolica, depending on how the quarter exits look between the pair of them. Up at the very front, Jamie Fluke parachutes into another retro series, and Jamie Fluke shows why he's got that black stripe on his car. Took the pole, and he's going to take the win here in the final round of the Sunday Grand Prix Series. Jamie Fluke is your victor here at Monza. Tomas Simone is in 2nd. Oscar Rina is your champion as he finishes 3rd behind the pair of them.
Yeah, sorry, Joe.
Ove Trengrade is now in 11th, and Frisha up ahead. We'll try and look at the replay later as we see Marco taking 4th.
Yep, as the rest of the field come across the line now, and what a race to round out the season.
I think that's most of our battles. Let's take a look at what happened. This is into Ascari. They did get side by side. We'll have to back up just a little bit. No, it looks like this is the leader we're looking at. So we're looking for Trengrade in the number 12. Here we go. He gets a run. Frisha defends. Down to the inside. They get wheel to wheel. This is tough to go like this into this corner. And just like we saw with the leaders, Trangarade outbreaks himself. Oh, disappointment for the Norwegian, unfortunately. But that's the last of our drivers across the line. So we are going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because you won't want to miss that. Welcome back to Monza. We just watched the season finale for the Sunday Grand Prix series, and while the race was won by Jamie Fluke, Tomas Simone finished in second, and Oscar Irina took third to clinch the championship. So that is going to be a huge celebration down in the pits of the number 7. Marco Kela finished fourth ahead of Etu Vaniokangas in P5. Andy T, unfortunately, falling backwards, lacking the pace despite a phenomenal start off the line. He just could not hold back the wave of drivers who eventually overtook him. Seppa finished 7th, with Gernot Frische finishing 8th. Steve Bycroft was 9th, climbing from 18th without having a qualifying lap, and Carl Villeneuve finished in 10th.
Finishing in 11th was the Norwegian Ove Trengrade, with the 12th place going to Dennis Jan. Elvin Rotkrans finished in 13th, with Tony J. Garcia in 14th. 15th went to Michael de Turk, Peter Kaniski in 16th. 17th went to Timothy Reed, Paul Williams in 18th. Yanni Reinanen in 19th, and rounding out the results was Alexia Tapia Vico.
That brings us to our interviews. First up, we've got our newly crowned champion, Oskari Rinna. Oskari, congratulations, a podium and a championship to celebrate with it.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much.
Tell us about the start of the race. It looked like you struggled a little bit off the line. Did that cause you any concern when that happened?
Yes, but I already knew it. I had really long first gear, and I always struggle with starts, so that made it even worse. So I was just like, I was sure that I was going to lose positions at the start, so I knew it already.
Clearly a cool head in that situation, I take it. Eventually you got by T, and then you started to leave him behind. Did you start to relax there late in the race, seeing that you had so many positions between you and him?
Yeah, I guess the last eight laps I realized, okay, that he has no way to catch me now without my mistake, so I just eased off the pace a bit and just drove it home.
So you've got a championship now. Are you going to come back in 2021 and defend it in season 1?
Yes, I think so.
Well, we look forward to that. UNT gave us a good one coming down to the final round to decide things. Congratulations, sir. Go enjoy it.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys for the broadcasting great season. It came really close at the end, so thank you very much.
That was third place today, Oscar Rina, and our champion for season 4. Up next, unfortunately, second in the championship and 6th on the track, Ryan is caught up with Andy T.
Yeah, Andy T. He was in contention for the championship, and unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be, Andy, and unfortunately, it slipped away. I guess you basically gave it your best shot, but we were talking about during the broadcast, it looked like Oscari just had you on pace.
No, he's an absolute machine here. Just a machine. Like, there was nothing I would have been able to do. I took a risk on setup that didn't work, and after the first few laps didn't go my way, I just checked out mentally. It was just like, meh, that's it. All I thought I could do was maybe Marco felt a bit faster, so I let him by. Thought if I can hang on to his coattails, he might catch Oscari, but then Marco didn't have the pace either. So, yeah, that's that. But to be honest, if you told me second at the start of the season, I'd have eaten your hand off. Like, to be where I am already is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, second in the championship is nothing to be to complain about. I mean, it's still a great season, you could say, and like you say, it's you've got to be proud of that. And I think you'll probably carry that momentum into next season. And talking about that, are you planning to come back?
I should do. I mean, I'm interested to see what this new open wheeler that iRacing announced this week is like, and I might try hard that. But yeah, my face will be around here for sure.
And the combination of this car and the Monza without the chicane, is it one you'd like to see back on the schedule?
I don't particularly love these super low downforce tracks in the 79 because the car's just a bit floaty, and whilst it's okay to drive, it's just not the 79 to me. You're having to do stupid things with setup to go fast, and it's just bonkers.
And before we let you go, Andy, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, congrats to Oscari. Really good championship. Well done, mate. I'll maybe give you a harder run next year. I don't want to go naming names for everyone who's helped me this year. I've had a horrible year personally, so that having this 79, this broadcast, the community, all my friends, my family, to keep me going through it's fantastic. So thank you, absolutely everyone. You know who you are.
Good stuff. Well, again, congratulations on the second place in the championship, Andy. I know it must feel kind of heartbreaking in a way, but like you say, you've got to be happy with second place, and we look forward to seeing you on track next season at some point.
Thanks very much, guys.
As that was Andy T joining us in the booth, second in the championship. And Joe, I believe up next you've got the monster drinking lover himself, Jamie Fluke.
Yeah, Jamie sweeping the vintage races this weekend. Lotus 49, Camel Series, and now Lotus 79. What is it about these old school cars that really jives with you?
They're just an awful lot of fun to drive. It's not like a traditional modern race car where there's a lot of downforce and the brakes are really good and all of that sort of thing. Like they're very different to drive, and it's nice every once in a while to sort of test myself against the guys who run this regularly and know the cars inside and out and see if I can adapt and fight with them. And thankfully this weekend I've managed to pull off a pretty good weekend.
It certainly seems so. With Shimon, how much of you two were kind of playing with each other, trying to position yourself where you wanted to be on the last lap, and how much of that was just sheer all-out brawling for the lead of the race?
From my perspective, it was all-out brawling. There wasn't a lot of posturing or waiting or lifting or any sort of mind games. For me, it was a case of once I realized that we're pulling away from Oscari in the P3. It wasn't, or it was trying to keep the pressure on in terms of that, so that he wouldn't come back into play and it would just be a one-on-one fight at the end. I sort of knew I was never going to drop him once he sort of got back into sort of draft range after I made the mistake on lap 4 or 5 or whatever it was. So from then on, it was just for me maximum attack every lap and hope that he would make a mistake. He didn't make really any mistakes, and then last few laps he sort of showed his hand a little bit more by where he could overtake me, and then I had to try and work out where I could overtake him and where I wanted to be in the last lap. And thankfully I came on the right side of it.
At the start, you did find yourself suddenly with a lot of cars coming around you. How much of that is down to the start itself, and how much of it was the slipstream, do you feel like?
Probably a little bit of both. it is a very long run down to the chicane, with not taking on the traditional first chicane. So slipstream's always going to play a factor here, but I didn't get the best of launches either. So I just knew if I held what would be the inside line for the chicane, and if I broke late enough, I would be able to hold on. And leading as much of the race as possible was part of the plan, because I hadn't really spent a lot of time behind all the cars and didn't really know how to manage that as such. So the clear air helped me settle into a rhythm from there.
Certainly did, as you came away with the win in the end. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go here?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone on Apex Racing Team for everything that they do for me. They're all fantastic guys and help me do something like this every once in a while, which is good. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, SDK Gaming, the Apex Racing Academy, and some pewters as well. And I'd like to thank, as always, my Twitch stream for all the encouragement and support during that race. Twitch.tv/JimmyFlake. And lastly, I'd like to thank you guys as well for putting on the broadcast. These races are always a lot of fun, even to go back and watch. So you guys do a fantastic job, and it's a credit to you.
Thank you. And I think Jamie will have a lot of fun watching this one back, because it gave us a lot of fun to call. But we're going to close up here with a big thank you ourselves to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. By the way, we are already in talks for next season, so don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. There is her Bandcamp if you want to check out more of her work. Thanks to the team today, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check out our social media, which includes Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. We've also got a merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. If you click the link in our description, you can go and support us there. But before you click it, make sure and check to see if you're subscribed here to our YouTube channel. Make sure and do that so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race for Lotus 79 will be December 20th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss that. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. We've got a full day today. Not only have we had the majors and the Lotus 79, but Absolute Beginners League starts at 1 p.m. Eastern with Bathurst up. And I think Ryan's got to duck off for that one soon. Until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.